Hello, welcome to the Pretty Huge Dilemma podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Barrett. So I'm ready to go for this podcast episode, trying to make it better than the last one. Make it better than the last one. Maybe, as I said previously, maybe I'll get a camera or microphone to improve this. But as I thought about more, maybe I won't get a camera because then it won't be as in high definition and I won't get as self-conscious about the video. But for now, still going with the regular headphones, regular microphone. So hopefully all these pre-recorded ones are still listenable in some way and people keep listening to it. But I'm ready to go today. Had my Sabrina Carpenter drink, the brown sugar shaken espresso. That drink, it was tasted like other coffee drinks to me. Nothing too special about it. Had to have my wife order it for me. She went up to them and just said, I want the Sabrina Carpenter drink, please. And the guy, I guess he knew what she wanted, but it didn't sound like anything special. Espresso, I don't usually get that if I drink something caffeinated. It's usually just an black iced coffee. Before I would get the flavoring is caramel, milk, sugar, but then that was too much for me. Didn't need that. Just wanted the coffee part of it. I'm not really too into coffee. Didn't drink it for a number of years. Just didn't really see the point of it. Growing up, just saw people dependent on it. Like my teachers, they would be the Garfield meme of don't talk to them until they've had their coffee. But as I got older, I thought to myself, oh, I don't need to have this. It's not something I'm dependent on, and I just want to be up ready to go based on just sleeping the night before and just having energy through food and stuff like that to have the energy. But now I still don't really like the taste of it. It's okay, but nothing too special where I crave it and I need to have it in the morning. It's more of, oh, I like the tradition of this, something in the morning, kind of like, oh, start to your day and get going from there because I probably have poor coffee taste. I don't really get the difference between the light, the dark, things like that. They're supposed to have different flavors of things, but not that good at it. Which thinking of it more, that's kind of similar thing to beer, which I tasted different kinds of those. But those also have similar things of, oh, this has this kind of note. It has made with these kind of things. It has this process going for it. But in the end, it's okay, this gets me drunk. This is the alcohol level of it. That's pretty much what it comes down to. All this other junk that goes into it, okay, great. If you're an enthusiast, the mixologist, be more concerned about home brewing things. But in general, it's not that exciting and you kind of just drink the beer for the get drunk part of it. I don't know who drinks beer for taste. All the times I've had it, I don't think I've ever had it for the taste of, oh, this beer tastes so good. It's refreshing. I don't think that's ever been the case. For coffee, it might be a similar thing where people don't really drink for the taste. That's why they get all the mix-ins for it, all the sugary items added to it, because coffee isn't the best. Sometimes what I do, which I don't know if it's a normal thing, but I don't really like the hot coffee, burns my tongue, don't want to wait for it to cool down. So what I've been doing is just, is it mixing it or it's pretty much just diluting it, just putting ice cubes in it, just straight ice cubes that way it melts and it's just kind of just part coffee, part water. And I don't know, it's not the most refreshing thing, but it also gives me the idea of, oh, I'm hydrating while I'm drinking this thing that dehydrates me. So it definitely offsets itself. So not the best tasting thing, but it's good enough. And that way I don't have to wait for it to cool down because the waiting part is, it can be annoying. I don't know how long it takes where you just want to drink it. Or it's like with any hot drink, I don't really like the waiting part of it. And watering down coffee, and people have iced coffee, so it's not, to me, it's not the craziest thing to have, but people might think it is. Okay. That's Spring Carpenter drink. I don't know. Just pretty much only into Spring Carpenter because my wife is. I guess she's a huge pop star. Went to a concert, so I'm a carpet head. Yeah, I don't know what they call themselves. I'm sure they have some name that I just don't know about. But it was fine. Went to one of her concerts here. It was that might have been the loudest concert I've been to. It was also like in an enclosed area, so all the voices were bouncing off of the arena. It was cool to go to. It was fun to see. Definitely wouldn't go by myself. Just went for my wife because she wanted to go. But the drink, it tasted fine, tastes good, but I don't think I'll be getting that again. But I had to support her for that. Okay. The other things happening since I had that ready to go, went on a trip I discussed previously. Don't enjoy traveling during the holidays, not my favorite. Always issues happening with it, which, yeah, did run into that. Did have a 5 hour delay at the airport, but wasn't one of the delays where they said at the beginning, oh, you haven't left your house yet? Here's a delay. Here's a 5 hour delay. So stay home, don't come in. It was one. But I get to the airport, I try to get there 2 hours ahead. I think that's what you're supposed to do, what a lot of the airline suggestions are. But some people don't like doing that. They are willing to get there an hour ahead, get through security fast enough. They have a TSA pre-check. I don't. They have clear. Also, that sounds even more difficult to get. Don't have that. So I try to get there 2 hours ahead. And I usually sit in the gate area longer than I need to, but that's fine with me. I usually bring a book, listen to music, or watch Netflix on my phone. Get there 2 hours ahead, then it was started with, okay, your gate's changed here. Once they start changing your gate, that's when it starts to click in people's heads of, oh, this is going to be a delay. This is going to be an issue. People just don't just switch gates on their own. They usually have things planned out pretty far in advance for it. So once they start having that delay, yeah, first one for an hour, and thought, okay, just an hour can do that. And oh, you're at a different gate, another hour delay. Okay, well, I'm on to this one. In the app, they have it, oh, switch for free, no charge. But the next one they have is in 4, 5, or 6 hours. So other people in gate area see this. They go, oh, maybe I'll switch it. Oh, there's really not a point. So I go to the next one, another delay, and it just keeps happening again and again and again for multiple hours. And I keep laughing to myself. Because I was by myself, I can get direct flights places. I'm going to the trip. So it's not that big of a hassle where it's just like, okay, not much is happening this day anyway. I'm just usually traveling, meeting up with people. But people who have to go, who have to go other places after, where it's a connecting flight, that can be an issue for it. So I start hearing them say, oh, I'm never going to fly this airline again. This would never happen with this other airline for comparison. That kind of makes me laugh. I don't know how people just boycott entire airlines. If I boycott every airline I've had a delay with, I might be out of airlines to fly because pretty much all of them have delays at some point. It's hard to tell. I don't think they want to do it on purpose. I don't think they have malicious intent to do that. Maybe they do. I'm just oblivious to it. I think they're trying to get people flying where they can. But hearing people say, oh, this would never happen with this other airline, there's no reason for this. Where's the gate agent? I need to talk to someone. And seeing the gate agent typing on a computer going, I have no control over this. I'm here for a couple more hours. I can't help you with whatever issue you're having. I can reschedule on a new flight, but you're not getting anywhere after this. So you can go stand in a customer service line for the next couple hours. I walked past one of those. It was super long for it, which I don't know what they do there. I guess they can't do it on their phone. They try to point people to the app and say, oh, you can do everything on this. You don't need to talk to any person. You don't need to talk to any person to do anything. You just do it all in the app, which sometimes that's helpful if you're just quickly changing things. But I understand it being a hassle when you talk to a person, so that way you have a base to put who to complain to. But in airports, so this would be the first travel show of my complaints of traveling and how it goes. The delays, yeah, they happen. They're a pain. Don't like them. Just buying out. Oh, and I forgot my phone charger. So the entire time, back of my head, I was thinking, okay, this keeps getting delayed. I'm gonna have to buy a charger at the airport, which those probably cost $50. So I was risking it the entire time without it. But in the airports, one of the things I don't like is the cars, not cars, but like cart things. They're not golf carts, they're kind of longer, whereas the person in the back just driving. I don't really enjoy those going through because they think just because they yell "excuse me" loud enough that they can just go wherever they want. That also happens with the wheelchair pushers. And I understand they have to push someone there and it might be behind schedule or something. But just because you yell "excuse me" loud enough, I don't think that should give you the right just to go, just to push someone out of the way or get angry at someone for not walking out of your way. Because it's everyone's in these rows, everyone has the same amount of space. So if I'm just walking, okay, there's a cart behind me, great. I got places to go too. And I'm not walking super slow. So why are you? Because they don't have a horn or anything in front of them. It's just a guy in the back. Sometimes it has the light going off, but they're saying, "Excuse me, excuse me." Usually I have headphones on, so I'm not listening to them either. Now it's walking. And I've had, there one time a lady, she pulled me out of the way of one of those cars, just a random stranger. No idea who she was. I was walking at general pace. And yeah, you can drive as fast as you want down it. Okay. Then you get there, you still have to wait. If you're late for something, just have a person driving it, call radio someone who's at the gate and say, "Oh, I'll be there in this amount of time." And if you're late, get to the airport earlier. I haven't had that issue yet where I've gotten to an airport late and had to rush through security, ask people to move. I'm not there might be that might happen at some point where I have to rush through and be more understanding. But at the moment, I don't see that as an issue. But those carts, they just drive around. Wheelchair pushers, they get people moving. They'll yell, "Excuse me," just assume you're out of the way. I don't think that's how it should work. But I don't have too much control over that. Okay. So at the airport, I don't know if this happens every time. It probably doesn't. Maybe I just got lucky. But I went to a McDonald's there just because it was quick, kept getting delayed, and I didn't have enough food packed for that day. I usually like to pack a decent amount of food because I don't know, especially if it's dry food or food that doesn't have to be refrigerated. I don't see an issue with packing it. I try to pack a decent amount so that way when I get to the destination, I don't have to buy the entire what I eat in a day. So I try to pack as much. But I didn't have as much for this and didn't want to eat all of it just waiting too long. But I had the hottest McDonald's I think I've ever had. If that's at every airport, I might just go to the McDonald's airport just because, not even be flying. That was the hottest burger I've ever had. And I get, it wasn't like the middle of the day either. It was kind of just like a random time. Not, they weren't super busy, so there weren't many people there. But man, that was a top-notch McDonald's burger. Yeah, there's a bunch of junk in it, whatever. It tasted good enough, and I don't, like I said, I didn't even expect it to be that hot or good, but for some reason, the McDonald's Walmart just, or no, not the Walmart McDonald's, the McDonald's at the airport, they just figured it out to make it as hot as possible. Um, yeah, so that was good. At the airport, I took an Uber there. It was the first time I've ever been in a Tesla, and the driver knew that right away because I've seen the door handles on there, how they're like flush against the door, but I didn't know how to open them. And the driver knew right away. It was my first time because I was like pushing on one side, stuff like the other end of it was coming out to pull it. I didn't know how it was working. I'd use like two hands, like push it. Okay, I got it, and then open the door. That way, it's grasp it and open it. I didn't know how it was working. And I told the driver, I was like, "Oh, this is my first time in Tesla." He's like, "Yeah, I can tell." It was pretty cool going in there. I don't think I could handle driving a Tesla myself. It accelerated way too quickly for it because we were just like on the side streets getting to the interstate and he just accelerates. It was the fastest acceleration I felt. It scared me. I wasn't paying attention. We were kind of talking. I was looking out the window. And all of a sudden he accelerates. I was freaking out. It's kind of like dropping off a roller coaster, like that right away, how it was just that huge rush, but I didn't have even have the anticipation of it. So it was kind of going down the roller coaster blindfolded. It was really cool. Talking about the ownership of it, how he bought it. He bought third party. He's like, oh, you can buy all these upgrades with Tesla, or you can just buy them from like third party, and they work just good enough. Because I think his tires, he said he got third party. He got he's getting a sound system that's third party, and it looked cool enough. He said there wasn't too much maintenance for it because, like, for a regular car, you have to be like oil change and other fluids like that gone through. But for that, said it wasn't too expensive. But I don't know how he's getting his return on his money if he just tried beat Uber with it. It's like Uber, it makes cars appreciate in value so much faster because you're just driving around putting so many miles on it. So that makes me think, no, because I don't know, some Uber drivers just rent cars, but it's not like he owned his. And it kind of had like a see-through ceiling. So I would get kind of scared if we went through, if it was raining, it was raining down, or in the car wash. Car washes, that was pretty cool as a kid. I would get scared about all the water coming at the car. I was tempted to open the window. I didn't, but was tempted to do it. Anyway, Tesla, it was cool. I want to drive with the guys because he was going 80, like no issue. You wouldn't hear like the car wasn't rattling. You didn't hear like the engine struggling, and it was pretty cool to go into. We He had to install a charging port in his apartment because I guess he didn't own a house. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I had to make this upgrade to the apartment." Or was he renting a house? He might have been renting a house. He's like, "Oh, I had to make this upgrade to renting a house that I didn't want to put in anyway." But he did that. It was I really don't know how much he paid for it, but I imagine it was a lot more. But yeah, it was cool seeing that. Don't want to. He only got one speeding ticket so far. I think he was going 55 and a 30. That's what it was. Because I asked him, like, oh, yeah, you probably get speeding tickets regularly, probably on a monthly basis. He said he didn't get it that often. It was cool to see that. Okay. Oh, at the airport, one of the things I had written down. I don't know. This probably is a me thing because I enjoy working out, enjoy, I don't know, having the option to do some physical activity when I go places. I'm just sitting there for a long period of time. I don't think there should be, but it would be kind of cool if there was a workout, quote unquote, workout area in the airport. Not an area of like lifting weights, dumbbells, things like that, but just like an area to like get like movement. Yeah, you could walk up and down like the airport terminal through the gates, but that can be kind of a hassle because you have your bags with you. There are other people going in and out. It'd be cool if there's like an area that's like there was some sort of lap in there where you could, I guess you would have to like put your bags down, which at airports are kind of against that, just leaving bags on their own. But I think, but even if it wasn't, I don't know if, no, because you wouldn't want to put bags like in a communal area. So maybe not that. Maybe if there's like an area for like stretching, like light activity, like activity things, elliptical machine, rowing machine, and just like stretching area, I think that would be nice to have. Because you're sitting in the airport doing nothing. You could be walking. You're just kind of like there. And you're there anyway. So if there's an area for people to get some sort of activity in, that might be nice to have. Because you're sitting at the airport, you're not doing anything. You're reading, listening to music. You can do that while you're on an elliptical machine. And you're about to be sitting down for hours at a time. So it'd be cool as you could do that. But I also want restrictions in that area of not allowing kids in there. But I'm sure that would be difficult for not difficult for the people enforced, but they probably wouldn't. I see like now I'll talk about my gym complaints on a different episode. Not about we're going to go into all the complaints I have about gyms, but I have a laundry list of those. Well, uh, I got time for that. So laundry list of gym complaints. But well, let me finish the airport idea first. Okay, so having some sort of area where they could work out, just moving in general, because it would be helpful to do that. Because you're sitting there, some people's legs get stiff, and you're kind of stuck there, especially if you get there 2 hours at a time. You got hour or so to do whatever, so you might as well do something. That's all like for other things. Of people, it's like, oh, you got nothing else to do, so might as well work out. But people still have difficulty doing that. Okay, that's that. Oh, the other thing about flying, I'm not a great flyer on the airplane, which I don't know what is being a good flyer, but I'll go there and not talk to myself, not talk to anyone how I prefer it. But if there's any sort of turbulence, I get freaked out. On a flight out, there was some turbulence, and the pilot knew it. It's like, oh, there'll be some turbulence, but you never know like what turbulence is an issue of, okay, how bad does this turbulence have to get for it to be an issue? Because there might be people like going up and down their seats with their seatbelts on or loosened as much as possible, which I do sometimes, just because I have it on, but I don't want it restricting me in any way. So, how much is it an issue where if people's heads start hitting not the ceiling, but the top of the thing or where the lights are at or the AC is, how long until that starts becoming an issue? Is that something where you do it 5 times in a minute, that's an issue? Because once it starts becoming an issue, then yeah, everyone will start freaking out and lose control of the plane. But there was the pilots say, oh, there'll be some turbulence coming up. Is that something that can't be controlled? Is it an issue? But sometimes people say, oh, it's like a roller coaster, just going up and down. That's not the case at all. I very much enjoy roller coasters. I haven't gone to a roller coaster place in a while, but I enjoy them. People say as they get older they can't, they're back, things like that. I don't know. I haven't had that issue yet. I don't think an airplane's like that. It would be similar to what the comparison I made before. It'd be like going to a roller coaster blindfolded of you don't know when you're going up and down. You don't know when it's about to start shaking or rattling or taking an unexpected turn. Because roller coasters, you can see it. Oh, we're going up slowly. Okay, we're going to drop fast. It's not that much of a surprise for it. But I get freaked out pretty easily. I think the best way that I get through is I try to fall asleep just right away before we even take off. Because once I'm asleep, anything could be happening. I like to do that. Sometimes if it's the middle of the day, I don't. But if it's morning or night, I think I fall asleep pretty easily. I don't use the neck pillow. I just tilt the head back and snore with my mouth open. Usually wake up with a bad taste in my mouth. Sorry for the people next to me. They have to deal with that. But that's usually how I do it. Is fall asleep, easiest way. Trying to do it. I don't know how people type on computers while they're in flight, like actually getting work done. Yeah, again, that's one of the things. Oh, you're there, you're forced to do it, it's right there. But now something about being in the altitude. I can't focus as well. Hard to do that. Depending on the size of the computer they have, if it's taking up the entire thing, if they have the extended like number keyboard, then it'd be more difficult because you're taking up all that area. But then also you're working offline unless you pay for the internet, which I've never paid for the upgrade internet. I haven't had anything where it's been that much of a necessity of, oh, I have to be online right now. I need to get this thing done. I need to watch this video, keep up on this game, text this person. Hasn't happened, so I haven't got in flight. Sometimes I do the free in flight entertainment, watch videos on there, but it's hard to watch an entire. Well, I guess it's not hard to watch an entire movie, but sometimes there are movies where you get through like a quarter of it and you think, oh, I need to buy a flight just so I can watch this movie again. And sometimes they have series on there. I think one time I tried to start Curb Your Enthusiasm on there. I watched like the first 10 minutes and I thought to myself, why am I starting the series? I can't watch the series when I get back home. So what's the point of starting it? And if, oh, there's a specific episode, oh, this episode is really funny. I'm not going to watch that episode. I'm not gonna watch that episode by itself because okay, I might not get all the jokes from it if I didn't watch everything leading up to it, but that happens. Right now, I'm rewatching Suits. I'm in like season four. I think it's interesting right now. I think it's a pretty well known show that people like. There are like nine seasons of it, so it must be good. I think they're starting a new series of it. I don't get everything that's going on with it. Well, yeah, I'll say I don't get all of it. Some legal stuff, I don't know. It seems like they just make it up as they go. Like, oh, use this um thing as precedent. Use this tactic in the bylaws. That part they kind of seem to make up. But I guess they do that in other kind of like what is it? Short or TV series like murder shows where like they have to solve the murder in that show. They kind of like make up evidence of, oh, I noticed this thing on the body that there's no way for the audience to know that. So I think Suits is similar in that way. Doesn't make me want to be a lawyer in any way. Still working too many hours. But I don't know, some people like that life. They make they have to make a bunch of money, especially in the show. Like in New York, they're in these giant apartments, which I don't know, gives me a different view of New York. I think it's true. I don't have any reason not to think that people don't have these giant apartments with elevators in there. This they have work on the 50th floor of some building. That's been pretty interesting to watch. The 45, 50-minute episodes, those can be long, but they're easy to get through. One thing I couldn't get through of books I was reading, I don't even know from once they started. I read the first two pages of the John D. Rockefeller book Titan, and it was talking about which first page is not that hard to summarize. They're just talking about like his life. No, not even his life. It was talking about like his heritage, where he's from, his lineage, where people like came from, where they lived at. I don't know. I think that book was 700 pages of some of the smallest font I've seen in a book. So after two pages, I asked myself, okay, so I want to learn this badly about John D. Rockefeller. Do I want to spend the next, I don't know how long it would take me to get through that book. It might take me a month. It would probably take me a month to get through that book of reading every day for at least an hour. Like, do I want to put that much time into about this guy I really don't care about, don't know that much about already? I had to return the book. Couldn't do it. Couldn't put that much time in 700 pages because I don't know that much about him. I know he's like Standard Oil guy, him and Carnegie, him and Flagler, and he made a bunch of these deals with people I don't really know, but I don't think I want to know too much more about him. Well, I mean, I think I would, but I don't think 700 pages worth. I might look to see if there's biography of John Rockefeller Doc. I won't listen to the audiobook. Audiobooks, I haven't listened to one yet. I understand why people do them. Kind of similar to podcasts. I think maybe podcasts should count as an audiobook. If that's the case, I could add so many audiobooks to what I've listened to. There was one, I remember one person saying they counted audiobooks as books they've read. They said, "Oh, this last year I read, I don't know, it was some crazy number. Would 100 books be crazy?" So I'd be like, I think that would be crazy. That'd be reading a book like every 4 days. That's a lot of books. But she said, I think she said 1,000. No way she said 1,000. But she said some crazy number of books. And I'm like, oh, wow, how did you read that many books while doing all this other stuff, while working, while going to school, and hanging out with friends, having some sort of social life? She then she admitted that she did it with audiobooks. And once that came out, I immediately discredited that audiobooks do not count as as books read, unless you also count listening to podcasts as books read. In that case, yeah, I would say I'm in a similar club. So I listen to I don't know how long audiobooks are. Audiobooks are probably longer than podcasts, unless you speed it up. But speeding up, I don't do that on podcasts usually. I only do that for sorry, I guess someone's talking about tooth, trying to pick it out. I'm not done. You probably see that on the video. I had something in my teeth. Uh, I don't listen to them sped up. The only time I'll do that is if it's a YouTube video, and even then, I'm clicking through. I rarely. It's hard to watch like a full thing. Well, I speed up if it's something like I'm trying to learn how to do something, and I just got a notification that my computer is on low battery. So hopefully this works. How long has it been? Oh man, it has been long enough. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause and get my computer charger. Okay. Oh man, I got Sharpie on my hand now. Okay, so I got the charger. So I think it should, I should have plugged in from the beginning. I also think my wife was getting home in a second, which this might be an awkward conversation of, oh, what are you doing? Oh, it's recording this podcast that no one's listened to or anything else. That might be one of the most awkward things to talk to her because, oh man, is it embarrassing? I don't know. We'll see. Nothing's come of it yet. Still have only recorded them for myself. I haven't sent too many of them out. I was gonna ask some of my brothers of, oh, is this a terrible idea to do? It probably is. But we'll see. Maybe I'll learn something from it. Some sort of skill, some sort of way to maneuver the internet. But we'll see. Okay. Audiobooks. I haven't listened to any of them yet, but if it's a 700-page book, I can't imagine how long that audiobook is, especially if it's in just like a boring, single monotone voice. And because if they have characters playing like different people, yeah, that might be interesting to listen to. But I haven't done any of the audiobooks yet. Maybe I'll try to find the John D. Rockefeller documentary. One, I don't know, some of those biopics, I don't know, it's kind of just look cheesy when they're going between like interviews and like trying to like act things out with people. Some of those, I don't know, I'm very cheesy because there's a football one. I forget, I think it was the Tim Tebow one where they were just putting some random looking quarterback just passing the ball with his left hand and seeing, oh, this is not even close to what actually happened. Why don't just get the actual footage from it? That would be much more helpful to do. Okay. Um, Audiobooks, Starting Rockefeller. Okay. Some of the gym complaints I have. Let's see here. How long is this? 31 minutes, and I am recording. Okay, good. Let's see here. Which I haven't fully decided on what the length of these podcasts will be yet. Some have been around 40 minutes. So I think that's a decent time. I haven't edited anything out, which maybe I should. I don't think I've said anything that bad so far. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see if I release them, there's any backlash, but it happens. Let's see here. What would my emergency be if everything went away? Could I just work with my hands and find something to do? Could I just be a mechanic somewhere where they don't look on the internet or know the internet exists at all? I don't know. Just move to a small town, maybe a small town where they don't even have internet. I don't think I would do well in another country, barely making it in this country. Going to another country, trying to figure everything out, that sounds way more difficult. If you're on your own, not as difficult, but if I have to bring my wife with me, dragging me down, I don't know how that would be. Just all those complaints come in, asking me what I'm thinking, what's happening next. Like, I don't know. You figure something out. You get a job in this new country where we don't know anyone, barely know the language. I think I would have to move to a place where I speak English because I think I'm past the time where I learn a different language. That even like the easier language, like Spanish, French, I think I'm past the time of learning those. For some of those countries, so I would stick out immediately as an American. The gym issues I have. I think there's a lot of these been, I think. I don't have too strong of a stance. Like I said, I could be convinced either way, but not yet. I think if someone could easily say something, I would change my position immediately. I think gym should have some sort of an orientation type class, maybe not mandatory, but maybe highly suggested. Like, oh, if you haven't been to a gym before, even if you haven't been to a gym, even just like for our gym, because people can go to gyms, that doesn't mean they know much about working out, the etiquette, things like that. Some sort of orientation class. I don't know if you could fit all in one day, maybe like a 3 week thing where it's like, oh, every Saturday morning, afternoon, okay, this is gym etiquette. This is lifting basics. They try to have that, but that's more of like them trying to sell something. So you go, oh, here's a free personal training session. Okay, it's 15 minutes, and then that he's trying to get you through an entire workout. You're not having any rest between your sets at all. And at the end, they go, okay, that was your workout. If you want to do more, it's I don't even know how much it is, $100 a session, maybe. I could see that being the case. You go, okay, here's a nutritional plan. Here are all these other plans. Here you go. But I think if they had more of an orientation, like basics, like, okay, we're gonna go through more. This is how you squat. This is how you put weights on a barbell. This is how you put away weights. That might be the most important one. But I'll put away weights. This is how you interact with someone at the gym. Okay, they're in the middle of this exercise. They're in the middle of pushing these weights. That is not the time to go up with them and say, hey, excuse me. That's not a good time, which that's been happening. Not, not as much now, about the same amount where I'm literally in the middle of doing an exercise, squatting, where I'm just looking straight forward and someone will say, like they're peeking around the corners. Hey, that is one of the things that upsets me the most, where someone's actively doing the lift. If someone's standing there, you're trying to get around them, okay. But if they're actively doing something, that's one of the most upsetting things. I think it's orientation class. What else would it need to have? Like, oh, these are helpful shoes to have. Oh, you're wearing flip-flops? Yeah, don't do that. But people show up in flip-flops, they can show up wherever they want. But wearing flip-flops and trying to lift, like, okay, not great to do. Maybe like a different pair of shoes that costs barely anything would be better than these flip-flops because that's also not safe to do. But the gyms, I don't know, they sometimes have wall of rules, all this stuff, but there's barely any people enforce those. So I would say, oh, no bags. Everyone will be walking around with like some sort of bag with their phone in it, their keys and stuff like that. So they don't get enforced that often. Okay. Oh, another gym etiquette rule. Okay, you're not allowed to play music out loud anywhere in a gym. Because usually people don't do it too much like in the lifting areas where there's definitely other people around. Sometimes in the stretching area, there'll be a person who plays it. It's like, okay, they're playing music through the speakers. You don't need to be playing your own. You get a pair of headphones that work good enough where you can listen to it yourself. But the places where people very much enjoy playing music out loud is in the saunas, which they don't have the speakers as well in there because they don't want people like staying there as long for a period of time. Yeah, you can be in there for 15, 20 minutes, but like don't be in here for like an hour on yourself. Is that maybe not the best? Maybe that will flip the benefits of all the saunas. But people play music in there without any issues. I've seen people play, yeah, music. They'll watch YouTube videos of streamers on there, Twitch streamers on there. People play sometimes basketball games where they're watching NBA TV and they're sitting there watching it without any headphones in. I think to myself, okay, you definitely have a pair of headphones somewhere. No one, no one anymore can say they don't own a pair of headphones. Like everyone does. They're Bluetooth. Can't say, oh, I don't have the right connection port. I can't use these. There are Bluetooth headphones all over the place. You can wear them wherever. And it's on, oh, it's too hot. Don't want to bring in the headphones. Well, then don't play your music. If you don't want to bring headphones in there because it's too hot, you definitely shouldn't have your phone in there. They'll get too hot and overheat. It's hard. Sometimes I've asked them to turn it off, but only in certain situations. There'll be in ones where I'm in there already. Like, how to say it, I'm the established person. No, I'm not the established person, but I'm the person who's been in the sauna for the longer period of time. Because if I come into the sauna, there's already sound playing. I think it's more difficult to ask someone to stop playing the music if you're the second one in there. I think that would be part of the orientation class. Other orientation class would be a little more difficult for them to do like form on things, for them to go in and correct people's squat forms, because that is more personal training. That's more. like takes longer period of time. It's harder to fix that just in one day. Different rotation, uh, different etiquette rule to teach. Oh, you can't reserve two machines at the same time that are on opposite sides of the gym. You can't be up on this bench with dumbbells and over at this other machine on the back side of the gym and claiming both of those as your own unless there is no one else in the gym. I've seen, yeah, that's happened sometimes where someone will come up and be like, "Oh, I'm on this machine. Okay, where's your stuff? Oh, I decided on me. I didn't put anything down. Okay." And see them walk away to the other side of the gym after they do whatever set and just try to walk back and forth. Add that to the etiquette class. Other etiquette class, number of dumbbells you have. I think having two sets of dumbbells, that's not too bad to have because sometimes you're trying to like, uh, is it, yeah, superset where you're trying to do like complementary type exercises where you're trying to do like one push thing, one pull thing. So that's not too bad. But if you have more than two and you're by yourself, I think that's an issue. Even if you have two people working out together and you have more than two sets, not excessive, but if you have two people and you have four sets of dumbbells, that's excessive because you're just taking up this entire area for these dumbbells. And it's usually like if you have multiple people, you're talking there, you're not on a time routine where you have every 2 minutes you're doing this new thing. So it has more going on. Other etiquette things. Um, how to wipe down machines. That one can go right after the putting weights away. That's where you can put the wiping down machines. Other than that, what ideas do I have? How to use different machines? Well, machines probably not the hard part, but other things. Oh, no, you wouldn't have too much locker room etiquette. That would be okay. Those are my main ones. People interacting with me while I'm actually lifting and listening to music out loud. And people in flip-flops, I don't know. That probably depends on like what kind of gym you're going to. But if I see people walking around flip-flops, like I know this person's not taking it seriously. Because I don't know, even like running shoes, unless you're doing like just upper body type stuff, if you're squatting in running shoes, because you have that cushiony foam, there's really not like that solid stability. There are people, if you're walking around in flip-flops and you do everything in socks, or then okay, whatever. That's not the best at a gym to do things just in socks. But because if you're on a platform, like a wooden type laminated platform, and you're in socks, very easy to slip. Because if you're squatting and your foot slips because there's no traction there, then that'd be an issue. But yeah, do you squat in running shoes? I mean, yeah, I've done it. I think before I would do a lot of the Nike Flex Run shoes. I think I would squat in those. Those are supposed to be like Nike's like barefoot type shoe. I think I might get a new pair of Nike Flex Run shoes. I haven't had a pair of those in a little bit, but I liked them. I didn't have any issues while I was running them. I got newer like Brooks Glycerin, Brooks. What was the other one? Ghost. I mean, those have a bunch of padding. I've had some injury, not like huge injuries like, oh, it's need surgery, need this recovery thing. It's more like nagging type things. I also don't know if that's the running shoes fault or my fault. It could definitely be my fault and nothing on the running shoes. But with the flex runs, I didn't have any issues with that. But I also, like I said, it could have been because I was younger. You don't get injured when you're younger. Let's see, is there anything else for gym etiquettes? Usually these are in the moment things. I don't have a detailed list of them. Um, I don't have an issue. Time limits on treadmill, run for however long you want. Uh, I don't know. People being on their phones, I don't enjoy it. But if they're on a machine that I want or on some platform I want, I get upset if, okay, they're on their phones for a long period of time or talking to people, having conversations. I don't enjoy that. Putting on TVs, some people's TVs delay people too long where they're just watching the TV instead actively doing the workout stuff. But yeah, I understand that's probably on me having the being too intense with it and letting it's not in it's not impacting me what they're doing, but I just know in my head of okay, this person's been watching TV for 10 minutes. Okay, well, whatever they're doing, I'm probably not gonna get. They probably won't be off of it soon. Um, yeah, with some of those places they don't, I don't the gym in general, sometimes they send out um reviews to the customers in it. I've had that at one of the gyms where it's kind of like monthly things, be like, okay, what's the monthly review? Like, what can we improve? Is there something you would like? I think that was a cool thing to have. Gym I go to now doesn't have that. I think they should. They don't have to. Again, it's their business, do whatever. Pretty hopeful because there are a couple things I've noticed where there have been things broken, things to improve on. Some of their machines they have, not the best. The rowing machines they have, they're not great. They're kind of, I don't know, they're just weird. They don't feel right when I've like compared to other rowing machines. Those are my main, I don't even, not even complaints, ways to improve gyms. I'll probably have more at a later date. Those are the main ones to have. Let's see, is there anything? Ways to improve gyms. No, I think that's mainly it. I'll see if any come up. Uh, oh, that's cool. It's falling that ice. I'll see if there's any more in the future. I think for this podcast, that'll be pretty close to the end. Try to keep a list of things I've talked about. I don't know how people do that for other podcasts. Well, if they're doing like daily topics, like sports topics, rating things, they probably don't have that issue. So like, oh, this is the title of the show, NBA teams. Okay, we're not going to break these again. Or if they have a daily show, like, okay, this sport game only happened once, so we're not going to re-talk about the same thing. But I gotta figure out a way to fix that to make sure I don't in the future, because I did start recording a podcast, then I remembered that was the exact same thing I talked about in the last one. Because it's been what's been I think about a week and a half since I recorded the last one. But I gotta figure out a way to make sure I don't do that. But if I do repeat things, then it happens. I'm not gonna I don't know if there's a way to get AI to figure it out if I've talked about the same thing. That'd be helpful. Maybe if I had a producer. So I haven't figured that out. If I'll get a producer or co-host yet. Not too seriously. Like I said, I don't know what steps I have left if I want to make this a real podcast. I don't know if I need to figure out the monetization part of it. If I make any money above zero, that'd be crazy. Something unexpected. But if I don't have a possibility of having that, but I also don't want to mess up my personal accounts. I don't know if it does that. Maybe that's just a non-issue that I'm making up in my head at the moment. But I think it's an understandable one to have. So I'll wrap up the podcast there. Thank you very much for listening. Sure you make sure, please like, subscribe, comment, reach out, let me know how to improve. I'll talk to you guys later.